We got a new segment for you all. It's called the Top 5 segment. On this segment, each guest panelist has compiled whatever the topic is. Today's topic is NBA Dynasties. We compiled 5 of the best all-time NBA Dynasties, in our opinion. All right, let's kick it off with you, Scruff. Let's hit the top 5. Let's get it.
All right. This was tough in no particular order because, honestly, this was a really tough list for me. But I'm gonna start it off, like I said, no particular order. If you're talking dynasties, you got to talk about the Bill Russell led Celtics. Dog, we talking about 11 chips, man. Ain't no dynasty greater than that. So honestly, the competition was a little rough, but whatever. We gonna count them as a dynasty for sure. Then I got the Jordan Bulls in my top 5. 6 for 6, gotta love it. Showtime Lakers in the 80s. Oh the 5 championships and 9 finals appearances. They were dominant. I got the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, who low-key could beat anybody in the rest of my top 5. And then last but not least, I got the KD and Steph Super Team Warriors, rounding out my top 5.
Solid. I mean, I can't really argue with that. You got some teams in there that I don't have on mine, but most of them I would agree with. All right, G, let's kick it to you, man. Let's hit the top 5.
My top 5 in all order. I'm gonna start with the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, the last team to three-peat. After that, I'm gonna have to give you the Thunders. No, not the Thunders. I mean the Golden State. Sorry about that. The Golden State.
I was gonna say.
I'm kind of messing up. Then after that, I'll have to give you the Showtime Lakers, the Bill Russells, and then I have to give you the Spurs.
Can't be mad at that. That's a solid list, man. Top to bottom. T, let's hear it.
I got the Lakers twice, like everyone else. I got the Bulls twice. I know you can consider it one long run, but I like there was a separation there. There was a period with no Mike, so I got
the Bulls.
I got the Bulls twice, and I got the Warriors. I mean, it's not really my top 5. This should be a top 10 situation because there's been so many good dynasties. The Lakers, I mean, but those are the teams that. No, man, I'm just naming the guys that I like to watch. You know, going back, looking at clips, YouTube, ESPN Classic. Those are the teams that I like to watch. My favorite dynasties. I won't say they're the best, but most entertaining to me, at least.
Solid list, man. So let me round it off, man. I got and mine is in order. And so number 1, I got Jordan's Bulls, man. I don't think there's ever been a dynasty that's really touched that. I think the documentary proved that. I think there was some flaws to the dynasty, of course, but ain't nothing perfect, baby. Ain't nothing perfect. Next, I don't know how y'all left this team out, and shame on all of y'all, man. Y'all know what team it is. Y'all got the heat on your top 5 dynasties?
No.
Ron,
no.
D-Wade?
Not quite. I'm mention.
Hey, look, y'all out of your mind, man. They on my list. Not only they on my list, they number.
Should it be Dallas?
They're number 2 on my list because I've never seen anything like the spectacle that was D-Wade and LeBron flying down the court together. Unbelievable basketball. Number 3. Number 3, man, it's Showtime, man. You can't have a list like this without including Showtime Lakers. 2 of, possibly 2 players you could say are the best all-time basketball players on the same team. And you got to have them up there. Then Kobe and Shaq. Who knows what this team could have been? I feel like this is the one that could have been one. You know what I mean? It just circumstances didn't allow that. And my final, shout out to Pop, man. Greg Popovich Spurs, man. The perfect balance of all type of basketball personalities. You had a guy from everywhere around the world, all being meshed by this crazy mad scientist that was Popovich. That was one of my favorite teams growing up because after Kobe and Shaq got into it a little bit, I kind of hopped off of them, man, and I started really rocking with the Spurs. And like the Spurs growing up, man, that was one of my squads, so I had to include them.
Okay, that's fair.
No heat.
No heat, man. That artificial.
It would have made my top 10 for sure, bro.
Look. LeBron proclaimed they was going to win, 5, 6, 7. They fell short of that. I'm not including them. Maybe I'm a LeBron hater, but I'd rather see some of those other teams.
Was that not some of the best basketball of all time, though?
Honestly? Oh, it was great. It was great basketball, man. Especially that team with Ray Allen. They had a great team. Honestly, if it wasn't for the 11 championships, they would have been in my top 5. But I don't know, say what it is, but dog, I can't not put a dude with 11 rings in my dynasty conversation. I don't care who the heck he was playing. I gotta put him in my dynasty conversation. But you know what I'm saying, the Heat, especially when they had Ray Allen, they had a team. Boy, they had a team. I'm surprised nobody no love for the Rockets, no love for the Larry Bird era Celtics. Nobody was feeling them.
So you had the Showtime Laker. Like, who you pick, Showtime Laker or the Larry Bird?
Well, obviously, I would take the Showtime Lakers, obviously, because they won more chips in that. When they were going head to head, the Lakers had the edge. So,
Yeah, answered your own question there.
But
that's in Houston, you had Jordan. Like, once Jordan came back, who was talking about Houston?
Good point.
Hey, that's true. I was a Houston fan during that small run. Sam Cassell and Hakeem and those guys, man. It wasn't a dynasty, but it was a hell of a team.
Yeah,
close. It was close. They was close to being able to call themselves that.
Miami Heat is what the Bad Boy Pistons were for between the 80s and the 90s, bro. That's what Miami Heat reminded me of.
Bro, I can't believe nobody else.
Yeah, bro, because you only won 4. You only won 2, and you went to 4 finals. You lose to the Mavericks, which you should have won.
Bro, that Mavericks team, come on, that was a great team, bro. Great team.
But the LeBron team was a lot better still.
LeBron, they literally had 3 guys. That first run, they was doing it with 3 guys and filler players. It was LeBron.
Bro, that's all you needed, bro.
Wade, everybody else was
had a healthy D Wade.
League minimums.
Bro, you had the healthiest D Wade he ever had his entire chip run. Was that D Wade?
I mean, D Wade's arguably a top 5 shooting guard. Like,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
D Wade got it done before Bron. Before Bron came out there.
Hey, that's still the best. I mean, not to say he didn't get it done, because he got it done, but he had Shaq that was just creeping out of his prime at the time, and Shaq was still a dog, bro. Still a crazy force, man.
Wade carried that team.
Yes.
He did.
Definitely in the finals.
He carried Shaq.
He did.
Definitely in the finals.
Big time.
I mean, I respect that Heat team.
Through the playoffs, Shaq was balling.
He was looking like he was losing.
Finals D Wade went stupid. Finals D Wade D Wade was going stupid all year. Don't get me wrong, but finals.
That's when he became
splash.
Right. It was some Jordan comparisons thrown out during that run. I mean, the guy was looking amazing, man. Flash.
He had that it factor. He had that certain it factor. You know what I'm saying? If you know Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover. I got to shout out Tim Grover right now. He may be part of the historic flu game pizza story. I don't know if it's true or if it's not. Only Tim knows the truth. But Tim did also train Dwayne Wade. And one thing he said about D Wade, he had that mentality. He described it as a cleaner's mentality, more or less. Hey, if it don't get done, I'm gonna get it done. Period.
Bro, I mean, I agree with y'all saying about D Wade, but let's not forget, Shaq got to Miami and they made him like the mayor of the city, bro. Like, he changed. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. D Wade was a dog, but Shaq was it was more. To me, Shaq was more of a reason why that team was what that team was. Let's not get it confused, bro. I'm
gonna kill your debate with that, bro. Because think about it. That's the only championship that Shaq doesn't defeat that someone else won it besides him. The 3 with the Lakers, Shaq is defending his dominance. But the one with the Heat, he don't say nothing. He just say that's all Wade. So if that's
I remember that era so vividly, bro. D Wade was a dog, bro, but Shaq was still a 2010, 2012 guy, and still very dominant. Very dominant. This wasn't Celtic Shaq, bro. This wasn't.
Wasn't the Phoenix? It wasn't a big cactus.
Was it a Phoenix Shaq?
It was a big cactus, bro.
Nah, man. Nah, it was not. Nah, no disrespect, man. Honestly, he deserved to get the respect and type of reception he got from Miami. Because, man, honestly, when you talk about Miami getting Shaq at that time, bro, you talking about the Lakers dynasty, I think we all had them in their top 5, if I'm not mistaken. Dog, how many more chips could that Lakers team have won if Shaq stayed on the Lakers? They traded Shaq, and more or less he was older than Kobe. Yeah, Kobe was way younger, but Shaq still was in his prime. Shaq, they traded like 5-6 players for Shaq, man. It was like tons of players. Caron Butler, Lamar Odom. They traded like half the squad for Shaq and some picks. Shaq getting traded was like literally one of the biggest stars getting traded. Yeah. And it was huge. It was huge. He still was, he was still the big Aristotle and all that when he first got the shot.
and one thing, man, we know this term gets thrown around all the time, man. This give people their flowers. And I think with Kobe's untimely passing, man, it became even more apparent, man. But Shaq's another one of those guys. I feel like he doesn't get that everyday credit he deserves, man. Like, they talk about him, and part of it's because of the brand he's become. Part of it's because of the way he's marketed himself. But this guy's a basketball player, man. It was to the young generation that didn't get to watch him, just sees him on TV, like, to express what he was is very hard to put into words, man. It was damn near unstoppable. It was unstoppable. It was unstoppable. It's the most unstoppable thing I've ever seen, man, in basketball.
That's a fact. Most dominant, might be one of the most dominant players that ever played the position, played the game. It was almost like we know LeBron's dominant. He imposes himself on the game at all levels. But Shaq's domination, man, it had people trying to find the next Shaq, man. There's no reason big country Brian Reeves should be in the NBA. But, just trying to find a big 7-foot, 300-pound guy to just give you a little bit of what Shaq is giving, and that's how Steph created a copycat league. Shaq created a copycat league. When you're great and you're dominant, that's what happens. And Shaq does deserve his flowers.
You can't find the next Shaq. Guys like Shaq just come around. They just come around. Honestly, probably not that they're the same. This is a new generation, so the game is changing. So players are changing. But like I say, in a way, y'all not going to feel me on this, but Zion is in a way a Shaq in a sense. He's not Shaq. He's not a center. He's not, low post banging out all day. But in today's small ball game, to me, he's kind of a Shaq prospect in a way. He's more of a unique, unicornish kind of skill set. But, I don't know. Shaq's
No, I agree. I think when you're drafting, when you're looking for guys now, you're going to try to find a guy that's comparable to Zion. Even if he doesn't have the skill set, you're going to want a size and speed freak. All right, well, that.
I mean, to the youth, if we're gonna talk about Shaq, just YouTube 80 Shaq and how he used to just hang his nuts on every center that came around the post. The reason why they had to put some steel on that backboard because the way he would just break the glass, Mr. Nuts to your face, Mr. The reason why nobody wants to be posterized was Shaq.
Nah, man, Shaq, especially young Shaq. Shaq went through some of the craziest transformations because young Shaq was like an athlete, man. Shaq could have low key went like the Ant Davis route if he would have honed his skills in that way, because at the time when he came out and you see that athleticism, the way he could move, it was ridiculous, and it ended up turning into something so big and massive and dominant that it was just like, man, once he just literally steps in the paint, it's a bucket, bro. Like that, it used to be crazy, man. And then when he got the little drop hook, when he came back with that little drop hook, when he got to the Lakers, man, it was like, oh man, this dude, Shaq was and I know they used to call him lazy, whatnot, man, whatever, man. Like Shaq would probably say, man, when you're that dominant, you don't gotta, there's certain things you don't gotta work on, and he worked on what he had to. But let's make sure we get that man his flowers for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Shaq, one of my favorite players, man, of all time, for real. One of the most dominant for sure. Man.
Bro, this has been like the most random Shaq rant of all time. Like, this was an unplanned Shaq rant.
It's worth talking about though, because if we talking about these top fives, if you gonna put them in the if you really was all right, let's say we talking about these top fives that we all name, right? We put them in a bracket. The Lakers, to me personally, the Lakers team is the most hard matchup to go against because out of all them dynasties, I don't know who's sticking Shaq, man. Even the Lakers, maybe the Showtime Lakers probably match up the best with them because at least they had Kareem. But
Kareem was kind of skinny though, bro. Shaq would be probably dominating.
Real talk, the Miami Heat, bro, Miami Heat teams, bro, they wouldn't have nothing for Shaq.
Shaq couldn't guard Kareem though, but I don't think Kareem could guard Shaq either.
See, and that's the thing with Shaq, man. Every shot was high percentage. It was a dunk. It was a little baby hook, a little sweeping hook through the lane. He would be hard to defend any era, any generation. And when they talk about centers, man, I got Shaq at 1. I know we can talk about Hakeem and a lot of other guys, Wilt, but Shaq is the 1 for me at center.
Think about Shaq's nickname, the Diesel. That should tell us a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, T. I think Shaq might be my number 1 center too, man. The only guy I wish I could have saw to really dispute that is Wilt Chamberlain, man. Like the fact that I ain't get to see Wilt kind of irks me because, like, from all the stories I hear, man, this guy Wilt was unreal. But Shaq, man, he got to be my number 1.
It's funny you say Wilt though. The funny thing is about Wilt, and I also didn't grow up in that era, so somebody from that era need to come in and check me and let me know what's up. But from what I heard from old heads in the era, man, that came up in the era, it doesn't really make much sense when they talk about Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain put up stupid numbers, right? So people look back and they say, man, Wilt was one of the greatest of all time. But in that era, just like when we look at this current era, we know what's what with certain guys. Bill Russell dominated Wilt on the regular. That was the same era that Bill Russell won 11 championships. So how is Wilt Chamberlain the best center of all time when he wasn't even the best center in his era? How the heck was he the best center of all time? He was the best center of his era. He got.
Well, you gotta remember,
how are you the best center? You got another dude winning 11 championships in a row on you, dog. I know there was some layovers in the years, but yo, if you the best center, ain't nobody dominating the league like that on you. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you sound like one. You know, if you use that argument, then you can never support LeBron with that argument, right? It was all about the championships and how you won. And I think what happens with a lot of people from our era, man, is we start to think that this era was so much weaker, but that was literally the era of the big man. Like, you know, and we talk about the best big man of all time. All the big men, all the legendary big men come from that era. You know what I mean? So it's like this guy Wilt wasn't just playing nobodies. And Bill Russell, do you know the names of the guys that was on Bill Russell's team?
Yeah, I mean, you had John Havlicek.
Yeah. Let's list them. You know what I mean? So it's like there's some things that it's like I don't know, man. I feel like I can go either way. On top of that, Wilt Chamberlain, a lot of people say he spent his best years not in the NBA. He was in the ABA. You know what I mean? So it was some different times, man. Some very different times. But from what I've heard from the old heads, that Wilt Chamberlain was something that was unreal, man, at that time, and that he could do it all. You talking about a guy that scored 100 points, averaged 30 rebounds, bro? Like, you grabbing every board, bro? Like, come on, man. Go back and look at some of those stats when Wilt played Bill Russell. It'll blow your mind.
Hey, look, man. All I know about Wilt is he put up some numbers off the court too, and that's got to be respected. You know, so he will always be a great to me. and if you really know what's going on, they say Shaq put up some comparable numbers himself. So, you know, 1 and 2.
He was in Florida twice, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Exactly.
Oh man, why y'all trying to get my man Shaq caught up? He ain't being.
Hey, they ain't right, man. They ain't right.
Hey, man.
Google Shaq and hoops. And I'm not talking about basketball.